Real quick, before we get started, my name is Charles Brown, and this video is the very first video I've made for my new membership channel. If you enjoy the video, go down and subscribe to the membership, but this is a free preview of my very first membership video. I thought it was an interesting topic, so I wanted to let everybody in on it so you can watch it. This will be the only video I release for free for the memberships. But if you enjoy it, consider going down and clicking and subscribing to the Charles Brown membership channel. I appreciate you, gang. Enjoy.
I'ma show you the power of membership. We everywhere. Membership, nigga. Don't fool around with a fool, dumbass, stupid.
What up, members? It's your boy Charles Brown. I appreciate you becoming members of the channel. Wolverines, that's what we are, gang. I want to say personally that we're going to have a lot of fun because I'm going to talk about stuff on this members-only channel that I do not discuss on my real channel. Some of the stuff will never be released publicly. It will only be for members, and this video is one of the first. What I want to do with this video is discuss why I think we almost got Jay-Z as the winner of the Nas-Jay-Z battle. I think Jay-Z fumbled it, and I think he gave it away to Nas. Not on purpose. What he did was he made one crucial mistake, and I want to talk about that mistake. To me, Jay-Z literally had this battle won just off a takeover. Nas had to snatch it back with Ether, but there was one crucial moment that made this historically over, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. I'm going to build up to what Jay did wrong as to why he fumbled a sure win. This was a guaranteed win, right? Because Nas was in trouble. I always say this all the time. When Nas came out with Ether, he saved his career because there was nothing short of that would have been acceptable to us hip-hop heads. But we all know what happened. Before these songs dropped, there were little subliminals and disses, and Memphis Bleak with the infamous line about, what did he say? You want to ball till you fall, right? He said, I want to ball till I fall. Nas hit him with the, you want to ball till you fall, I can help you with that. You want beef, I can let a slug melt in your hat. So Nas kind of took a shot at Memph. Memph came back at Nas, and that started a little back and forth, a little tit for tat. We all know that led to Jay-Z and Nas ended up sparring little tit for tats. But the very first full-on, and we heard Nas on the mixtape throw the little couple lines at Jay, and that people equate that to the real spark of the battle. But the battle didn't really become full-on public knowledge until Jay-Z dropped Takeover at Summer Jam, right? And he put Prodigy on the screen and all this and that, right? But when Takeover dropped, it spread like wildfire through hip-hop. And what happened was we had all but wrote Nas off because we felt like Nas had completely left rap alone. He had kind of disappeared off the face of the earth, right? Low key, we didn't know where Nas was because Nas was tending to his family business. His mom was ill, and he wasn't really in New York. He wasn't doing no rapping. He was tending to his family business. So a lot of us felt like, okay, we don't have any real like feedback from Nas on any of this, so we got to give this to Jay. Now, Nas comes back with Ether, I Will Not Lose, right? We all know the lyrics to that. Jay dropped Takeover in December. I'm sorry, Jay dropped Takeover in September. September 11th, Nas came back with Ether in December. That was three months, which is a lifetime in hip-hop, right? So we didn't know what Nas was doing or what was going on, so we all assumed that Nas kind of like didn't have it because I'm telling you, he wasn't writing, he wasn't dropping much of anything at the time, and what he was dropping was kind of suspect. So people was like, we don't know what's going on with Nas, right? Nas come back with this, I Will Not Lose, one of the best diss responses in the history of hip-hop, and kind of like was given the title of winner. When the song dropped, they put it on the radio. DJ scratching it up, chicka chicka. Like, I'm like, we all going nuts. I mean, it came out on the CD as well. You usually probably heard it first on the CD, but at the same time, that same night, all the radio stations was playing it. All the radio stations had it. They all started playing it, and they started to do these polls, these phone-in polls. Who won, Jay-Z or Nas? Who won, Jay-Z or Nas? This is before Jay-Z dropped Super Ugly and all that. It was 7 days between Ether and Takeover being judged worldwide of which one was better. Now, what happened with this, and I'm gonna tell you why I know for a fact, Jay-Z fumbled this battle. In hindsight, when I look back now, Jay-Z fully had won this battle, and he made one crucial mistake to this day that people might not really understand what really happened with this Jay-Z battle. What really, really happened was Jay-Z picked the wrong beat. Jay-Z did a freestyle, quote unquote, over the Super Ugly beat. And when I went back right now, listen to the Super Ugly. The Super Ugly beat is Nas's Got Yourself a Gun, right? And we all know what that sounds like.
Niggas attack you up on the Coliseum roof and open beer bottles of the boy Chip too. Look here, I got myself a gun.
So Jay-Z chose to rap over Got Myself a Gun, Nas's song. That's Nas's, I think that was like Nas's last single, the last big record that Nas had at the time, I'm not really sure. But he rapped over that, and then he rapped over this other beat that came in. I forgot the name of that one. I think it's something, I don't know. But he rapped over those two songs, and he rushed it to the radio. From what I hear, Jay-Z wrote Super Ugly the next day, right after hearing Ether. And then 7 days later, he took it to the radio, took it to, I believe it was, I don't know if it was Angie Martinez or whoever it was. They're like, we're gonna play the record tonight at whatever time, come through. I mean, make sure you tune in. We're gonna play the record, da-da-da. Built up all of this momentum. Now, right here is where Jay fumbled. I'm gonna tell you why. That song, when we all heard it, we were midway through and like, yeah, I don't know about this, right? We were trying to get gassed up like, oh, skeeted on your baby seat. We were trying to gas up on a couple of them lines. But now in hindsight, when I listened to that record, I really listened to Jay, that was the worst beat in the world for him to try to flow to. I'm just going to be honest. You need to go listen to that record. Listen to Jay trying to stumble through that flow. If Jay picks a better beat, a beat that we never heard before, he could take that same exact rhyme, put it on a different beat. The flow would be different. The aggressiveness would be different. It sounds like he's playing around on this beat. It sounds like he doesn't have the energy needed to defeat a Nas who had just dropped one of the most aggressive, most hate-filled. You could tell his passion that he just did not like this guy. Did not like him, couldn't stand him, and he wanted you to know you a phony, a fraud, a stand. Like, he was not playing around. Jay goes on this one. He thinks that the Carmen line is the kill shot, right? He thinks that the I skeeted on your baby seat is the kill shot, right? These lyrics, and they start off kind of slow at that. It's like he's just going through the motions with it. But you know, I don't need the heat. Your hot pump Kool-Aid, you sweet. I got what do you say? Let me see, hold on. Let me just make sure that's the right one. I don't got a two-way, you gaze. This is not a beef, this is a rap, homie. I don't have a scratch on me. You feel soft, rip Jay off. You feel Jay soft, rip Jay off. Damn, I'm only worth over 100 million. See, this stuff right here is not what Nas was talking about. But he still could have took this same exact verse, right? As it goes down the line, it gets better and better. It's not that bad. People think Super Ugly is all. I thought Super Ugly for years. And I'm going to be honest. I think that a lot of us were pressured into saying that Nas won that battle because after a while, you just got tired of arguing. And then you had to admit it to yourself and you went home and listened. And you're like, you're listening to the Ether over and over. You're like, dang, he's killing this dude. And you start to realize Takeover is a very strong record. But Ether, sonically, Takeover is the better record. But Ether is much more it was just direct. It has much more, the punchlines are stronger. And we got to admit, Nas was not telling the truth. And a lot of this, just like with this new battle we just witnessed with these other two guys, a lot of this stuff is not true, right? Like Rockefeller did not die of AIDS, right? A lot of this stuff is not true, but we didn't care. We didn't care. Nas just said it so convincingly, right? That it just, you wanted to just believe it. So we all fed in the Ether. I feel like I said, a lot of us got pressure into saying that Ether won because I tell you, I just got tired of arguing. 2-3 days of arguing with dudes. I was in a house full of Nas fans. I got tired of arguing about it. So I was like, you know what, Jay lost. I had to just admit it, like, boom. But you didn't really admit it until he dropped Super Ugly. Now, I'm telling you, if you rewind time and you go back to the night that he was going to drop Super Ugly, the battle was still open. A lot of people, like myself, when I think about history now, When I think about history now, I try to tell the story now, I always say, the battle was over when Ether dropped. No, because I'm gonna put you in the moment. They said, tune in tonight. Jay-Z has responded to Ether. The entire world, hip hop or not, everyone that had a radio went to that radio to hear that record. At that moment, that battle was still live. Listen to what I'm telling you. We erased Super Ugly from history. That battle was still live. Because had he picked a different beat, let's say an ill-ass beat, a Primo beat or something crazy, Alchemist or like freaking, who was popping back then? Just Blaze. Imagine he got an ill-ass Just Blaze or a stupid-ass Kanye beat. Pick one of them joints, right? And then ratcheted up that aggression a little bit. Guess what happens now? Ball's back in Nas court. And if he don't respond, he lose. We all rewrite history that the battle was over when he dropped Ether. But now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, bro, the entire world was waiting on Super Ugly. The entire world stopped when they dropped it. Everybody wanted to hear that record. But when they heard it, it was a beat that we already heard. We already heard Got Yourself a Gun. We already heard it. We already heard Nas rapping on it. And Jay didn't sound that impressive on it. So it's like he's coasting through, and I think Jay didn't take it serious. If you listen to what he's saying, he's thinking like, I'm so much cooler than this guy. I'm so much doper than this guy. I got so much money. I think Jay just kind of like Drake did. I think Jay just like, man, I'm so doper than this guy. This guy ain't on my level. I can just throw this freestyle out and end this guy. He didn't understand what the streets was saying at the time. I don't know if he was in the streets like that, like he's supposed to, but the streets was like, Nas is a lyricist. He just killed this guy with lyrics. So Jay coming back talking about Carmen and talking about, let me see what else he was talking about in this joint, because he just was going through the motions on this. He's like, oh, open beer bottles on your chipped tooth. Like, you know what I'm saying? And just talking about stuff like we don't even know. You never sold an aspirin, how you Escobar. Even if you would have took these rhymes and put them over a better sonically sounding beat, these rhymes would have sounded better than they did over that Got Yourself a Gun. I think Jay-Z really only lost that battle because he picked Nas's beat to rap to, didn't put enough effort into making a better song because he couldn't really flow to the beat that well. To me, in my opinion, I think he's floating on it, but any rapper could float on any beat. But you're not your best on any beat. Why do you think some songs sound better than others? Why do you think rappers sound better on some songs than they on others? A rapper can flow to any beat. Any beat you put in a freaking machine, boom, boom, tap, boom, boom, tap. A rapper could flow to that, but is it going to be his best flow? I don't think this wasn't even close to one of Jay's best flows. I think Super Ugly on this beat was his fumble. I think if he would have changed this beat, came at Nas correctly, I think Nas would have had some real trouble coming up with a second Ether. I'm just going to be honest. And at that point, Jay had to concede defeat because he came out with a freestyle over two beats that we already heard, and people was like, boo. And a lot of Jay-Z fans try to defend. I try to defend it for like a day. I try to defend Super Ugly for like a day. Like, yo, nah. But then I was like, bro, you're defending something that can't really, it ain't better. And I was trying to defend it. I'm like, I go back and listen to Ether. Takeover is better than Ether, right? It's just a better sonic record. But at the same time, Nas did so much with the wording on that. It overcame its Takeover beat would not Ether beat would not make any sense anywhere else in hip hop other than on Ether. If someone tried to make a record out of Ether and it's not a Jay-Z diss, it probably would sound ridiculous. It's just not a great beat. But at the same time, it's great when you put Nas's words to it. I think Jay was going up a hill that he didn't understand. And I think he didn't realize how big the moment was. I think he knew the moment was big, but had he really thought about how big this moment was, he would have never rapped over another man's beat. Not at this moment. This is going to lose you the battle, Jay. You can't rap it. That's like Kendrick coming with somebody else's beat. That stuff, it happens when you in the beginning of battles. Okay, yeah. Before anybody drop any lyrical napalm, yeah, you rap over, you freestyle, throw a freestyle out on a mixtape, da-da-da. Once these fuses were lit and they had 2 strong records that was original records, you cannot come back over this man beat trying to tell the whole world, listen, tonight at 8 o'clock, we're going to drop the whole record. We're going to Super Ugly, da-da-da. And you can't do that. I'm sorry. Right? And this guy, who did this? Irv Gotti says he produced it, right? He produced the Super Ugly, whatever. At the end of the day, this was a bad idea. And I think Jay may have even gotten gassed by some of these people that this was a good look. But I'm going to tell you right now, if Jay doesn't fumble that and he picks the right record, we're talking about a whole different history, gang. Let me know what you think in the comments. Salute to the members that's watching. We're going to have a good time. These hip-hop conversations are just going to come, and we're just going to talk about it. Let me know what you think. I'm going to catch y'all on that flip side, CLBMG. Peace.